Do you include rituals and traditions from your ancestry in your preparation for birth or in your first 40 days postpartum? I've long been curious about the role of rituals and how they enhance and protect this sacred time. If you're curious too, my guest today is going to fill your heart and spirit with her great wisdom about rituals from Mexican midwifery. Hi, I'm Debra Pascali-Bonaro, founder and director of Orgasmic Birth and host of the Orgasmic Birth podcast. Today, I have the honor of introducing someone extra special to me, a dear friend, Alejandra Lozano. She is a dedicated Mexican midwife with over 11 years of experience walking the sacred path of supporting women through pregnancy, birth, and beyond. Alejandra's journey into midwifery began with the birth of her own son, Mariano, born at home in water and surrounded by midwives. That transformative experience awakened a calling in her heart to walk this path. Her first mentor, her own midwife, guided her initial steps, but Allie's thirst for deeper knowledge took her south, where she immersed herself in traditional Mexican midwifery. There she connected with midwives who taught her ancestral practices, such as Sobada, the healing massages, Rebozo techniques, herbal medicine, temazcals, and sacred rituals. Each practice, rooted in love and community, shaped the way Ali now walks with women. Today, Alejandra combines this ancestral wisdom with her intuition, creating a space of trust, compassion, and connection for the women she serves. She doesn't consider herself a traditional midwife in the strictest sense, having been born in the city, but her spirit is deeply tied to the roots of her traditions. She continues to travel and learn, bridging the gap between modern and ancestral wisdom, offering her gifts with reverence for the lineage of birth. In addition, Alejandra is a special friend because she is our Orgasmic Birth social media creatrix. She teaches the wisdom of the Rebozo in all our doula workshops, and she's one of our own Orgasmic Birth practitioners. And we have the pleasure to teach together at advanced retreats in both Mexico and New Jersey. So I'm so excited to have you, Ali, here with us today to share your story. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Debra, for this amazing introduction. I'm always beyond excited to talk to you. It's like we always have so much to share. And like listening my story again is always like, oh, that's been nice. It's been a good journey, you know. So thank you so much for that. So I
Oh,
think
you're welcome. It is such a pleasure. I'm always excited to get a chance to work and learn from you and hear all your wisdom. And I know that so many things start with birth, right? That's why we always say to everyone listening, birth is a day that you will never forget, but it's a day that will change you profoundly. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of your pregnancy and journey with birth with your son and how that led you to all that you're doing today?
Well, I think that was the first step. When I realized that I was pregnant, it was like everything in my brain changed, you know, and actually changed, you know, hormonal, but I didn't know that. But I started like just thinking about pregnancy. It was like an obsession subject, and I was like daily checking and checking like all the info and what was happening with my baby like every week. So it was crazy. I didn't have any moment or time to think about anything else. So then I realized that I had to give birth. So the first thing was like remembering how it was my birth with my mom, and she always say the same, like it was okay, like it was fine, it was. She never say something like really bad, you know. It was not like it was pleasurable, but not bad. It was like it's just the way it is. It happens, and you're gonna be fine. And it was like okay, but she had an epidural, and for me, like the epidural thing, it was like, no way. I don't want no one to do that to my body, you know? It's like I just can't. It's like I don't want injections and stuff like that. And it was like, no, okay, how can I jump that step? And then I realized that I had a chance to experience a water birth. So water birth was like perfect idea for me. So I start doing the research in my city, like how can I have a water birth, or where with who is gonna like accept for me to go into this process. And I think in the last trimester is when I found a midwife. And I remember our first meeting, and she was like very serious woman, because she is very professional even today. And I really admired her, you know, she's my teacher, my friend, and a lot of things. And I was like, I really want to give birth. And she said to me, like, you need to think about it. So give me a call in 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks, that's a lot of time. I'm ready now. I was like, I don't have anything to think about. But then I wait these 2 weeks that for me was like a long time. And then I say to her, yes. And then we start doing all this prenatal care that it was very different, you know, because my gynecologist by that time, she was always like laughing about me wanting to try to have a birth without anesthesia. And she was like, you're gonna cry for me to ask me like the anesthesia. And I was like, wow, that's rude. You know, it's like, I'm sure I don't want that. So once I start with my midwife and all the prenatal, I stop with the gynecologist. And at the I'm gonna tell you, because this happened to a lot of women. Like inside of me, I was like scared of letting her. You know, it was like I'm like, what am I doing? What if they call me? Like, where are you? Why are you not coming to the appointments? And nobody called me. It was just like an inside for. So well, yes, the birth came, and it was like very, it was not an easy birth, but it was not difficult. You know, as a midwife, I can say it was difficult, but it was long. You know, it was like 3 days of labor that it was coming and going and very strong, and like me in the water and then having to go out. So it was really intense. And for me, by that time, I didn't have the tools to actually release and relax. Now I understand how to relax my uterus, but by that time it was like, how can I relax my body? And the midwife was like, just relax yourself, just keep going with the flow. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? You know, what's the flow? I don't understand that. And it was a little bit difficult for me in you know, because of that. But by the end of the 3 days, I actually give birth, and I remember myself, I was like beyond excited. It was like ecstatic birth. It was like, wow, I did it. And I was just laughing to myself like crazy. It was like the moment that I was expecting, with my baby in my arms. And I was just like, I don't know how to say. It's like I never feel like that before. Never in my life. It was a moment that I will never forget, and I feel very supported from with my midwife. So, sorry, also the father of my son. He was always there, and like not telling a lot of things, but he was there, just like believing and trusting that I was ready to give birth. So it was, I think, it was an amazing experience, and it was for me like, by the moment I give birth, I say to myself like, all the woman needs to know they can birth like this. Because if now I go back to that experience, I know that if I choose like a home birth, that will be a sexy section for sure, you know, because by the last hours I saw the meconium, and it was a long birth, a big baby, and you know, a lot of things that can lead me to having a C-section. And instead of that, I have like a very empowered home water birth with my midwives, and I feel so power inside of myself that it's like, I don't know, everything changed. You know, I feel connected to my body. And then I start connecting myself to also to the earth, and also to the rituals. And also I start like growing plants, and like I want to move to another place, and I want to be more like close to the nature. So how bird change your mind and your experience in this world? in all the ways is just too big. It's just a lot, you know, and I think we're still like not recognizing that. We just need to listen to their stories and how it changed, like birth changed your life. Well, it has that capacity.
Yes. What a beautiful story. And I love how you acknowledge that you listened to so much of your inner wisdom, that, a physician that was belittling you and, didn't believe in your ability, and you made that change to a midwife and a home birth. That's huge and powerful and was life changing. And I hope for people listening, you must hear it too. So many people get that message, but they're too afraid to change. And then they look back and regret that they didn't do it. So it's so important, like you, to listen to that wisdom. But take us from there, because now you've done so much from that point to now empower so many other people to trust their bodies and their wisdom, and also to dive into ritual. So after your son's birth, what was the path like for you?
Well, it was like I had, you know, nothing of experience about the subject. I just only had like my prenatal classes and also like my birth and all the things that I was reading because I was like doing a research about pregnancy and stuff and blah blah blah. So with all this info, I start doing lessons, you know, not like lessons personal, like conferences. Because I love to talk in public, and it was like I'm gonna do it. And I subscribed myself and all the conference around my city, like they were talking about, I don't know, it was a lot of things about feminist movement and also about sustainability. So in sustainability I was like, yes, we can put like the respected dirt here. So I started doing these conferences, and then I create a group of maternity, and we were like inviting a lot of experts talking a lot about different subjects. And then I convinced my midwife to be my mentor, but that was like a long journey. It was like a 1 year and a half after my birth, and she decided to invite me to a birth. And then I start also taking workshops to become a doula. So I take a workshop, a Donna workshop training, and I became a doula and also a childbirth educator. And also I take a water birth training. And then it was a lot of things coming. But I remember one workshop that it was very special. It was this midwife coming from the south, and she teaches about the Sobada, and it was like how we can like touch the woman body and during pregnancy, and how they were doing this to in every prenatal session. And I was like, I want that in my midwifery. I know I'm going to be a midwife, and I want to work that way, so I need to know how, because my mentor works in a different way that is also beautiful. But I realized like that's mine. You know, I want to do that. You know, that's the way that it's going to be, you know. And with my curiosity, I start journey to going to the south of my country. So I move. I take my baby when it was like 5 years, and we moved to San Cristobal de las Casas in Chiapas. And it was like I need to connect with midwives, because by that time it's important to realize that we were having a lot of midwifery gatherings where all the midwives from Mexico had the chance to get together, and we did a lot of like a big net of midwives from all the country, and that gave us a possibility to connect each other. And that's how I connect with the midwives in Chiapas, and I say like I'm going. And once I traveled to Chiapas, I say like I'm gonna move here, because it was more close to nature, more close to the traditions, and more close to everything. And there I get the chance to connect with Doña Caridad. That is a special friend that I'm waiting to see soon, that I'm planning to travel to San Cristobal again. And she become my friend. And she's also a very amazing mentor. She never say that, but I know she is. And she start like teaching me without teaching me, you know, just like having adventures and like going like, let's go, you just try. let's go there too. There's a cave there. And let's go walking in the mountains. And it was like such an amazing experience to meet her and to realize how midwives in the indigenous communities just dream about the plants, and they are so connected to the earth, and they do these rituals because that's the way it is. It's not like because they have to, it's because it's the way it is. You know, we do herbal baths and we do blessings and we pray, and we also take the bones and move them and do the closing because it is the way it is. And this culture is like very alive, but we in the north of Mexico, we already miss everything, and we are so disconnected from traditions and from like tools that give us the chance to heal ourselves, you know, in a very easy way. Because connect yourself to the plants and to the herbs and start doing rituals, you actually realize that gives you a lot of pleasure. You know, it's also beautiful. There's a lot of beauty in rituals. You see colors, you see plants, you see flowers, and you smell the copal and you smell the palo santo. And it's like, it's all, for me, it's related. Rituals are related to pleasure in my like personal experience. I don't know for you.
For me too. I love it. I love how you explain that and how you were just called, right? And had the opportunity to have such a beautiful mentor to deepen those rituals and skills and wisdom. So, for people that are listening that may be pregnant, right? And they're preparing for their birth, and like, take us now, you're a midwife practicing. What are some of the ways you weave these into prenatal care and labor and birth? How do you support people with all of this?
Well, I start like doing, I always add the sobada, but the thing is like, I know I can do it, but I want to bring this to become a tool for the family. You know, it's not just that it's gonna depend on me. And if they don't come to me, they're gonna miss this. So for me now, it's like, okay, so you're coming to the prenatal care and you're watching me doing this. So now is your time to do hands-on, no? And the partner or the couple or the friends or the mom is like jump in and try to touch and try to connect and try to see. Because when you're like in this very like intimate place with a woman giving the sobada, it's a beautiful moment where you can also listening to her, you know, and she start telling you important things about her daily life. It's like, I'm tired, you know, it's like I've been like working a lot. I really want to relax. Or it's like, I don't know, I'm having a problem with my mom. And it's like, just open the possibility to have intimacy, you know, and to have like this sacred place where you can listen and you can go very soft. And in places like cities where we're going very fast, like going to the prenatal care is a moment to go slow. So midwives always go slow. Our prenatal care is like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. It doesn't matter if it's 2 hours. For me, it's like I'm here, I'm available, and let's talk and let's eat something and drink something, and also share about our lives. Because also, a woman wants to know us, and they need to realize who we are and how, what are our values, how is our family. So we create this exchange of information, and also that's why we can feel confidence. And then when we have the partner and they can jump in and learn the sobada, then we start creating another language, because sobada can also work for postpartum and can also give you empowerment to touch your baby and to also give a sobada for the babies, you know, because babies go through a really difficult process during birth, not because it's bad, you know, because it's like a transition that is intense. So get the chance to touch your baby in a very soft way and adapt your hands to the new body and the digestion situations that all the newborn have. Is like you just need to empower yourself, like to touch very gently. And then Sobada is a tool that can adapt uh, herself if it was a woman.
Yes. And can
It's
you
definitely a
explain
woman.
what does Suvala mean? Give an example of how it is for people that are kind of saying, "What is that?"
Yeah, well, you can think it's Sobada as a massage. It's not a massage because, you have to learn massage as a skill, and it's like, okay, we have different techniques for massage, and then you have to go to school. But Sobada is like a way to touch the body that is always learned in the family. And then it can change because you can go deep or you can go soft. And then you need to have a rhythm, and you always use oil and always your full hand, and you can be touching. And it's like the intention is like to move, and you're moving and you're warming and then you're dissolving, and then it's like you're like moving the body and massaging. And it's like when you have a trauma, when something happens to your body, like you were like walking and then you want to punch yourself with something, then there's a trauma there, it's like, oh my god, I feel the pain. And then if you go to the house and say to your mom that do sobada or massage, it's like, oh, I have a pain in here. And then they go like, okay, let's move the pain. And we're gonna move the pain. And as soon as we move from the like main point, then it starts releasing and releasing. And with pregnancy, it's not like we have a specific pain. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's in the lower back or in the round ligaments. So you start moving and then you start relaxing, and then also you move the hips. And then it's like we're like remembering the body that you're gonna move and you're gonna open. And then it's like, yes, get to know, get comfortable with these movements and get comfortable with opening. And then it's like giving a guidance also for the body and like a confidence, like you're gonna do it fine and everything is good. Because some woman during birth is like, I feel like something is moving. And if it's a new sensation, it can be crazy, it can be like, what is happening? But what if you move the bones before? And they get connected with this sensation, and it's like, that's normal, I feel it, it's possible, my body moves, my bones moves. Sometimes they have a sound, like they, like if they break, and they don't break, but it's like if I get connected with this sensation, then it will be easier for me to go during the birth with this because I already feel it. Okay, I don't know, I don't know if I if I answer your
Yes.
question.
Very much. And I have to say, even hearing you talk about it, right? And I've seen you and felt you doing it for me too. It feels so soothing. I can feel the connection, the comfort, the love, the nurturing. But what's coming in my mind too for many people is I had a client a while back that was seeing an obstetrician and they never put their hands on her. Ever. The only touch was usually a machine, a Doppler or a sonogram. And she made the choice, like you did, that she wanted to switch to a midwife. And she actually called me and she said when the midwife put her hands and connected on her body and her baby, she cried and she hadn't realized how much she was missing by not having a caregiver who offered safe and comforting touch. So hearing you speak, right, just fills me. And I hope everyone listening is just feeling what it's like to have a midwife that offers that loving touch. And as you said, teaches that to the family. So it's something that you have as a family in your toolkit, not only for birth, but going forward. So take us deeper now, where someone's in labor. What are some of the ways, and I know we talk orgasmic birth all the time, what are some of the ways that you help them to connect to their intimacy, to their pleasure, to support them in birth?
Yes, well, once you start like using the sobada or the massage during pregnancy, and then woman get into labor, and I think it's the pre-work, in pregnancy is very important because once you start in labor, then they go deeper in relaxation. They go into these deep relaxing sensations, and once they start having contractions, then the contraction wake you a little bit now, and then there's a moment like you have to adapt your body to the sensation, but it goes away like the waves in the ocean. And once the contraction went away, then you can start going with the flow of the Sobada again and again. And that gives the mother the possibility to focus more on the pleasure than in the like big point of the contraction, the pain point, and because it's going to go and then we're gonna go back with a massage. And then she's like, oh yes, we go again. And then relax again. Because sometimes after the contractions we stay there. It's like we stay like, oh no, there's another contraction that is gonna come. And I just don't want this. And it's like, yes, it's another one is gonna come, but we're gonna relax in the meantime. And then we're gonna release, and then we can just start. Also, we also add sounds, like yes, we let go and we release, and then we keep going. And once we keep going, then I remember some birds when women start like really, you can see their faces, like they're going into pleasure and they're going into like, oh my God, yeah, that's feeling good. And they release the body and they even like get naked, it's like, I want you to touch me, all my back, not just the lower back, all my back. And I can do it as a midwife, I can do it. And I feel very comfortable as a doula also. But what if the partner can do it also? What if he can jump in, and if it's a he or a she can be also, they're gonna know your body better, and they're gonna know where it's a point where you feel like more excited even, and that's a mix of sensation. And we know the body is very sensitive, but if we do the sobada with all our hands with rhythm, they're gonna like, it's like the pleasure start going really high and you start feeling like all the oxytocin in the ambience, and you focus on pleasure more than in pain. And then we just change, and how, yeah, we change the focus. We move into pleasure. And we forget a little bit about how birth can be so painful for some.
That is so beautiful. So I know we're coming to the end of our time, but there's so much more I want to talk to you about. So I'm going to say we're going to do a part 2 for all our listeners. So stay tuned for part 2. But for now, Ali, can you tell people where they can find you and follow you and get in touch with you?
Yes, of course. I only have an Instagram. It's like my only social tool because I love it. It's Ale Partera. That's the way it is, and you can find me there, and you're gonna see a little bit about myself. About I also love art. I also love rituals. I also love my friends. So you're gonna see a lot of everything, my workshops, and all the things that I do. So yeah, I'm open to receive messages, and if anyone have any doubts, they can connect with me.
Fantastic. And we'll put that all in the show notes. So wherever you're listening or watching, make sure you look below and connect with Ale because you offer so much wisdom. And for everybody, stay tuned for part 2 so we can go deeper into traditions, Rebozo, and more tools for birth and postpartum. So we look forward to seeing you in our next episode.